just said?
I said spill and kill. You got spill and kill. That's the terminology, right? Right, Grant? I've been learning from defense this offseason.
Okay.
Spill and kill.
The very first of the game, he didn't have to go far past that wing area, and he was able to turn up and go. But in the second quarter, they stretched that out about another 5 to 10 yards, and it did make a difference.
And we're setting.
All right, we got people watching. It's time to get going because we're on a time limit tonight.
That's right.
Here we go.
Let's do it, baby.
Yep.
Okay, I had a whole different thing scheduled, but Grice, tell us about the 7-on-7 you saw down at Weddington this past weekend.
Yeah, the Blazing 7-on-7, pretty much the premier 7-on-7 league around here. They had the end of season tournament. Of course, with COVID, we couldn't have a normal football season for most all of us. So they did a great job of coming up with something to keep these kids active, continue to keep these kids' bodies, as far as the skill players, in shape for the upcoming season. So you had Saturday, you pretty much had the high school division wrapping up. And I know Division II was kind of, some of the they had great teams, but some of the teams that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to compete with the Giants. We had friend of the show, Joe Evans, and his #New Era South Met guys were successful. Then you had
Who won?
It was two divisions. I want to give love to a friend of the show, Joe Evans. I'm the Division A, and then Joe Evans, South Met guys, won the Division II.
Marsh Park won? Who did Marsh Park beat in the finals?
Butler. That was a game. Fun game.
Yeah.
You talking about semifinal? You had a semifinal on the same field. You had a semifinal to the right of Myers Park and Weddington, and on the left of Butler and Mallard Creek. We hadn't had tackle football yet this year, and some people call it fake football. Felt real to me with all those athletes on the field.
Did Drake May play?
Drake May was in attendance, and he was dropping dimes.
Yeah, well, that's a different level.
But shouldn't Marsh Park be working in a new guy who's going to be playing during 7-on-7?
As a fan, Drake May needs to be out there as long as he wants.
No. I mean, Sam thinks Drake May is the best thing since sliced bread. Although Gary would argue that, but I mean,
he was buttering that bread with some of those balls. Out there. Goodness,
if he opted out. He shouldn't have been out there.
What does it do for Myers Park when they win that? They can promote that, and they know that he's leaving. So if there's a kid that's thinking about transferring from somewhere else, then boom.
If I'm a private school quarterback and I want to play in the spring,
Yep.
Can you do that?
Like maybe Russell Tabor at Country Days.
You can't do that. That's against state rules.
Why can't
He's coming private to public.
You can't do it.
Okay. All right. Speaking of public school football, interesting time. Are you guys worried about public school ball happening this winter and spring? Kenzie, we'll let you talk since you haven't said anything yet.
I am, because I heard the plan for us to go back to school today, and it's not sounding too solid. Cases are back on the rise. It's just I don't know what's gonna happen, but right now it doesn't seem so good. So I mean, I'm gonna have hope, but it doesn't seem like it's moving in the right direction at this point.
Coach Griner.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that we'll find a cure, and then we'll all. I think the cases are going to rise right now, and based off of what Dale said, I think Dale was on top of it, that the cold and flu season is coming into effect, and then everybody might think they have COVID when they just have a cold or a flu. So it's a difficult time, but everybody's got to be very, very safe. Wear your mask, social distance, do the whole deal, and I think we'll play in the spring. I'm still hopeful.
All right, doom and gloom. Wait a minute, I just got rid of doom.
Doom and gloom.
I just got rid of doom. Gary, what do you think, man?
They're not playing. They're not playing. Period. I hate to say it. I love to see them play, but I don't think they're playing.
I want them to play. I don't know what to say. If I say they will play, they won't play. Maybe if I say they won't play, they will play. But data doesn't look like they're going to be able to play.
Don't you daggone speak that into existence, you guys.
Exactly. But I don't want to.
Next week, volleyball and cross country start. CMS has still not said definitively what they're doing yet, which I find interesting. They've not
I'm
said
going
it.
to go to volleyball next week, by the way.
Well, CMS hadn't said they're going to let them play yet.
Well, I'm going to find a volleyball game to go to.
What are you going to
They
say,
are
Kizzy?
practicing though.
Yeah, they
Hey,
are practicing. Kizzy, what you got to say, Kizzy?
I mean, CMS, I just want answers. At
Yeah, me
CMS,
too.
I just want answers, please.
Right.
Like,
Me too.
some sort of plan.
I love
Like,
some-
it's just, I don't know. So
I'm
it's just like all
sorry.
keeping us in this impending cloud of doom.
I
love
want to play
this.
so bad because I went in for the first time I watched basketball practice at West Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you playing football? You're
a wide receiver?
playing football. They were some studs out there. Everybody was dunking. You get a dunk. They were handing out dunks like Oprah. Everybody.
All right. I want to ask Gary about his Cowboys as we go to our favorite segment. How about them?
I'm not into moral victories. At the professional level, you either win or you lose. They finally played hard for a full game. However, they're so undisciplined. In the fourth quarter, they had 6 defensive penalties. And, because they're trying to play hard and they're playing under pressure, and they hadn't been in that situation in weeks, and they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. The pressure was too much for them. So, go ahead and play young players, get ready for next season. Wait on Dak to get back.
Should the Cowboys tank and try to get a draft pick?
Yes.
They don't have to try to tank it. They're going to lose anyway.
Good point.
All right. Private school playoffs. They got 2 divisions of 4 teams each. Is that the right way to do it? Or should they have 1 division of 8 teams? Grice, what do you think?
Yeah, I do like the 2 divisions. I think that Country Day, I looked at that, kind of before we got on. I think Country Day got a really bad rap being in that Division 1. You look at the Division 2, I think Country Day has a great shot to win it all if they are in that Division 2, scenario. But hey, unfortunately they get a third shot at Charlotte Christian, trying to overtake them. I do like their chances. I think they have a good shot. Christian coming off a very emotional conference win, they have a chance. I mean, of course, Christian sights are on state, but friendly opponents sometimes create upsets.
I like it and dislike it though, because what if you have does Latin get into Division 2 and they haven't won a game? Is that how that would work? I don't know how that would work. What if they're the best team and they win a state championship and they didn't win a game in the regular season? Do you see what I'm saying? That's the only thing I don't like about it. That's the only thing.
Another thing with these divisions, this is like a 2A team playing a 4A team. As far as a Latin playing a Christian or somebody like that. So, there is a difference in the quantity of players that they have available.
But what Latin has just as many players as
but
Providence Day and stuff like that, right?
Sam, Latin is not in it though.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, don't get that one.
Latin's not in it.
I'm just saying,
when you look at like Davidson Day was a division, they worked their way up in divisions.
Who was their coach? Who was their coach?
That coach that's over at Providence Day.
Right,
They were a very, very small school. In other words, population wise, thus having a small number of students to pull from. So there's legitimate reasons for having. Oh, I see my crayon drawed face on the thing there. So there is a reason for having the smaller divisions. But 2 games, 4 teams, 2 games. I'd like to see a little more playoff.
I'll tell you who definitely likes it. Whoever's selling rings, they love that.
Oh, sure.
They coming in there and selling them. Hey,
Right.
They make a little bit more money. All right. Interest of time, we're going to go to GRICE'S. Grice, who's on with you on gyms? Is Griner and Gary, right?
Yeah, Griner and Gary always hang out with me.
We're going to let Kenzie and Dale go sit in the back room.
Oh yeah, Griner.
I'm going to find the button here, and we're going to go to GRICE'S gyms and talk about some players.
Yeah,
all right, man. It's my favorite time. My favorite segment of our show, man. GRICE'S Gym.
Favorite. I don't know about favorite. It's a good.
It's gone up to number 1 now. So let's start with another unsung hero from this very good Country Day team. This Scott Hosmer here, he's a middle linebacker, 5'9", 195-pound senior. Ground, you'll love a guy like this, just a guy that just takes advantage and makes great plays. In this game against Charlotte Latin, 49-14, had 9 tackles and was a key stopper. And with them again showing that they're one of the better private school teams here in the state. So again, we've talked about Hedrick, we've talked about Tabor, we've talked about a lot of these guys on this Country Day team that are extremely talented. Here's another guy that we talk about on this defense, and you see right here the closing speed there. Garner, what do you think about this linebacker?
I like it. I can see you see how he checks off, like he knows where his threats are. He's got 2 threats outside to the right. He knows how to read his threats once it goes to the pass. That's the hardest thing to teach linebackers today is how good are your eyes? What are you looking at to play faster? He's already got that down pat pretty well. And
what about you?
I like how in most of these highlights he's playing well in space.
Mm-hmm.
He plays well in space.
Great. Let's move to the second one. This one came across my eyes Friday night. This is Jahleel Porter from West Ashley out near Charleston area, out near Tucktown, near the water. This guy ran for 327 yards and 6 touchdowns Friday in a 49-14 win over Stratford. I mean, this kid had some huge runs. I actually follow his coach, and I saw him posting. Extremely proud of this guy. I think he's just one of those South Carolina kids that just looks incredibly athletic and just had a whale of a game. Garner, you run the ball a ton. What do you do with speed like this? I think you've had a good back in your time or two.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta have a good back. This kid right here is definitely getting it done. He's pretty special, no doubt.
All right, and I had to drop one in here for my favorite former QB. I had Hopewell now doing his thing at Christ School. This is AJ Simpkins. He went 12 of 18 for 236 and 3 touchdowns and a 43-21 win over High Point Christian. They had a slow start this year. I think lost the first 2 games, but they've roared back, winning 4 in a row, and are headed into the Division II playoffs. I think they're the 1 seed if I'm not mistaken. So we definitely are looking forward to seeing how he's doing. Griner, I'm sure you've seen a little bit of him, but what do you think about a quarterback with a big arm like this?
Yeah, I'm glad you have him, to be honest with you. Come February or March, actually, we probably don't play the late. But he's good. He's got a lot of arm talent. You can see you've done a lot with him, and he's grown. So that's probably why once everybody catched up to his speed of what he wanted to do, that's why they probably won games down the stretch.
Oh, for sure. Gary, what about you? I know you're offensive
player. I'm looking at his footwork because just like you, I coach quarterbacks, and he has great footwork.
That's a tough ball he threw right there.
Yeah, he has great footwork.
Yeah. All right. Move forward to Mr. Wills. Again, a guy I've coached with and know pretty well. Lads had a tough year. And keep in mind, this kid is a sophomore. Let's be very clear. A lot of this team is very young. He had a great game even in the loss. 17 of 25 for 286 in the score against Country Day. They may have lost 49-14, but he showed you as a sophomore that he could be one of the private school's great young stars. 2 more years, you got to like him. Griner, what do you think about the young kid?
I just think that they're doing more. When they do more if they have a running threat, it helps this quarterback out because it opens up the windows and the throwing lanes for him. But they have to be able to establish the line of scrimmage, and that helped him out. And these big plays he's making, he's hitting the tight end up the seam or he's hitting hash throws, but that's because he looks like he's doing a running threat. They did something in a drive to develop a running threat to make teams commit to that. So
how big is this kid?
He is tiny. I was with him all day Sunday. He's probably about 160, about 6 foot 160. But like I said, again, he's 15 years old. A kid that will look to grow, through the years. I work with him a little bit on the 7-on-7 front. But this is a kid to me that I think he will be one of your next private school stars. When we talk about health, when we talk about Tabor, those guys. He may not get to 200, 210, but he's got a great arm. Has great talent. Works with Coach Anthony Boone there, the OC at Latin. And again, the bigger thing I look at, I saw them. I think we saw them game 2. I watched some of that game 1 on video against Providence Day. He looks way ahead of where he was in those first couple games. So those are GRICE'S Gym, as we always talk about. You have my edit, Coach Jay Grice. If you have a great performance on Friday, we're getting into some big game moments. Tag me, reach out to Langston Wirtz. Let us know if you had a great week. So always looking forward to seeing and highlighting young stars out there. So let us move forward. Let's drop that game of the week music.
Do.
That's All right. We got some big time games here. Like I said, a lot of games with playoff implications. The game we're actually highlighting is Rabun Gap at Providence Day. So I think Providence Day is the 2 seed here in the Division I private school playoffs. Rabun Gap is 6-1 at Providence Day, who of course is 4-1 with that only loss last week in the conference tournament or conference championship to Charlotte Christian. Just to give a little more background there, the winner of this game will get either Charlotte Christian or Country Day. Again, that's the one. I think that's the one in the, that's the 1 in the 4 game there. And some more context. Of course, we know Christian beat Country Day 31-21 and 21-13. Rabun Gap's only loss is to Christ School 38-35, but it's won 3 straight. So again, like Christ School, and I talked about with AJ, Rabun Gap has really kind of poured it on down the line. So just some thoughts there. Again, we know Rabun Gap had a good career as far as had a good time in the playoffs. They lost to Ravenscroft in the first round of the D2 playoffs last year. Otherwise, they would have been at Providence Day. So Dale, I know you have a little bit more of a Charlotte and private school football history. What are your thoughts when you first look at this game?
So first of all, Rabun Gap's got a long road to get up here. I don't know if you guys know where Rabun Gap, Georgia's at, but it's over in the mountains west of us, where North Carolina and Georgia come together. Most of their games have been against teams here in this area. So I didn't look to see if they were all travel games or not, but if they drive up on or come over on a Friday, that's going to be a disadvantage. And just looking at the games that they played and who they played and trying to come up with some kind of mental how's it going to look, it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy game for Rabun Gap. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Providence, but I think Providence Day is the better team here.
Gotcha. And Kenzie, I know, like I said, you've seen Providence Day in depth, especially after that loss you watched last week. What are some of the things that they need to fix to kind of get over the hump and get to the state final?
Just like little communication things. You can see, a little bit of the play calling, not necessarily being on the same page, but those are little things that you can clean up during the week. They've got a lot of new guys in, guys who have gotten hurt and are coming back out and trying to fix that and those communications errors against a good Christian team, and they managed to do it. They came back in the first quarter. They did not look good, and they fought all the way back, and they almost won it. And so, I think against, is it Rabun?
Rabun, R-A-B-U-N, yep.
Rabun Gap.
Mm-hmm.
I think they win. I think Rabun Gap's a great team. I didn't know they were in Georgia. That's cool.
No, and I think, Kenzie, you hit on some great points there. And again, I always had my King state of the King thought process when it came to Christian and PD last week. Bigger reason for that was a lot of the fact that Providence Day is down a ton of starters. I mean, you have linebackers playing, offensive tackle. That's a tough situation. I think in this situation, though, I mean, you've got to go with experience. You got to go with a team that's had a tougher regular season. PD's
Bryce, I don't know why you're going on about all this inside stuff. Just ask Sam who's going to win. Sam, who's going to win the game?
It's not even close. Providence Day is going to blow out Rabun Gap.
Put Sam on there instead of going to win. We go to the next.
We're talking about.
Man, I can't wait till February when we talk about public school games, so we just throw it to Sam, who's going to win?
Providence Day. Bye.
No, I mean in February when it's public school football.
All right, brother.
It'll be Providence Day.
He's going to be zipped up there.
You'll learn how to talk like me in those kind of situations.
Yeah, talk to me in January. If I get some of these basketball players playing, we're going.
So you won't finish last in the conference, right?
Ooh,
no.
Wow.
You always getting on me about picking you last. I'm just asking.
I know. How does that feel, Grounder, to be on the same show?
I'll go out on a limb and take.
Honestly, we take the average of what all the coaches predict, and that's how we come up with that. It's not like I say.
Maybe they didn't take my predictions.
He said first. He said, "How does that average when you got a 1 in there with the 9s? That's got to be like a 4."
Yeah, I know, right? All right, it's time for Fresh Faces. We got a little bit different this week because I'm going to have to go individually.
Okay.
So it may be a little rough. It may be a little rough, but here we go. All right, Kenzie, Matthew Reddick, South Mecklenburg.
This kid is incredibly big and fast, and I always say it impresses me so much because I don't understand how you can move that amount of mass that fast, and he does it with ease. He's a hustle player. I mean, you look at a lot of these plays, he's running to the ball, he's making those plays because he wants to. It's not because it's there readily. He reads the gaps pretty well, does great things with his feet. Overall, great player. Impressed of how well he moves. That's what always.
I tell you what, I know he's strong, right, Sam? Because he's in that weight room with Joe Evans.
Joe likes the way he jumps. I saw him play two years ago, and when I watched South Meck play, I guess that was Rocky's last year, and this kid has stood out to me every time I've seen them play. He has stood out on the field. He's a very athletic player.
Grice, something wrong with you, man.
What's Grice doing here?
Grice is
not doing anything. I'm just
They're in the back room talking, and that's not what you said. That's not what you said. But
man.
Sam, this is a very strong young man, right? He's in that weight room with Evans. You know he's got a lot of strength, right?
That's the whole key. You know, he's real big in the weight room. That's why it takes time for him to develop his program, but they are going to be really, really good. They're going to be a tough team to beat. They could go from last to competing for the conference championship this year, no doubt, because of the weight room. Mm-hmm. That is exactly the main reason, because he puts out with them. He's a stud himself. He could deadlift probably 500 pounds.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. He's a stud.
He can do 500 pounds.
Oh, yeah, on the deadlift. Guaranteed.
He's just making that up.
Who?
He just
Joe, we need confirmation.
I'm talking about Joe Evans can do it. It's inspiring when the players see the coach.
You're listening, doggy.
we need confirmation. Here's Sully McDermott, Mallard Creek, Marvin Ridge, Dale, your guy.
Yeah, man. So he's got a lot of highlight up. He's a big kid. Things that I liked about him was how he sets himself in the pocket. He throws balls that are catchable. I don't know what all highlights you've pulled here, but you'll see him throw some back shoulder stuff. He can throw, as I was mentioning earlier, as he runs laterally left to right. He still gets his throws off. Man, his stats last year, did you have those up there at the beginning of this?
Yeah,
500 yards. Yeah.
What is it about Union County? They have all these great quarterbacks. The kid transferred to York County is a great quarterback. How this kid? I mean, it's all over the place.
He has a QB rating of 108.9.
7 on 7. That's why.
Here we go at 7 on 7. Well,
you want quarterbacks? Man, how do you practice? You're gonna be a good golfer. You got to go to the driving range. Look at golf platform pros. Look at them running right here.
What's his play right here? Boom.
Golf platform. That is amazing.
That is awesome.
He was on our show, guys. You guys remember back in, I think it was August, he was on the show talking about missing the
another
season.
Good one right here. Just boom, gets it right there. Boom.
But what I mean, really though, what is it about these Union County quarterbacks? Anybody can tell me, why it is that Union County keeps putting out all these great quarterbacks?
Grice hit it on the head. It's 7 on 7.
There's a lot of athletes. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably part of it. 7 on 7.
They're really big in the youth leagues too, and I think that it just it comes up. I mean, everybody in Union County is pro football, and I think that it's really taken the fold from the last few years because of the youth programs. Now you're all
a lot of NFL players over there.
I mean, and I think people don't understand when I say that. People think I'm just making some broad generalization, but you're talking about 5th grade teams, 6th grade teams, 4th grade teams, even with their high school.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Audrey Kells, Joshua Johnson. This guy's fast.
He's big too, Langston. 6'1", probably still growing. Catches a lot of contested balls. He looks like he needs to be on a segment of Monday Night Football. You got Moss, because they're throwing a lot of jump balls to him from the highlights that I watched. Big kid. I'd like to see him run more of the route tree. You know, they throw him a lot of bubbles and a lot of go routes, sluggos, that type of thing. But he's a good run after catch.
Good breaks.
Yeah, you can see.
Hey, I put all these highlights up here. I don't need to throw him a dig when I can throw him the ball right there and just have him go 40 yards on his own.
Look at that.
Look at that.
He got both views of that one on his highlight. He want the end zone view.
He's going against Weddington, I'm sure. Hey, I want all of this.
We haven't seen a big route yet, have we?
This is one game. I had a different clip with.
I was looking at another highlight tape that he had posted on Huddle, and everything was a 9 or a sluggo.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so he showed everything in the arsenal then, because he's throwing, now throws, smoke throws. That's what I like to do. If I have an athlete, I'm going to give him smoke throws because it's non-contestant and it's going to be an easier percentage to throw. You should complete that 95% of the time, and then let your athlete run
5% of the time.
Yeah. You should on a smoke throw. Should be.
See how many times that corner wants to come up and make a tackle.
All right, we were talking about Weddington. We got to talk about their rival, Charlotte Catholic. This is my guy, Jimmy Brewer, Grice.
Everybody talks about me liking to throw the ball and all stuff like this. You give me kids, in the box like this that can block.
This is Sam Granite football right here, baby.
This is
all the people are in the camera shot right here. That is power football. He took the whole again. He's a 5'11", 200-pound guy, class of 2022 kid. So, they have a kid, Paul Neal there. That's a great back too. Jimmy Brewer's a great compliment. You'll see here, take a quick old belly play right there. Is able to see the hole even on the quick hitting play. Look at the run after contact. He's not going down easy. And again, these are big games. That's Kings Mountain there. You have top teams that he's doing this against. So I love when guys put highlights against top teams and not, running for 100 yards against a team that's not winning games.
Why would you throw it if you run the ball that well?
Well, exactly. Why?
That's right. I tell people the same thing. My running back was 160 pounds last year. That's why I threw the ball.
No, I understand. But this, they're just caving people down. They're going against good teams and they can't stop them.
No, you want a guy like this, nice quick hitting play. Look at the line with the double teams at the point of attack. This is good O-line play and a good fullback right here getting that ball.
Nothing worse than being a defense coordinator and just getting the ball ran for 300 yards on you or something.
It is, because you can't stop it. Again, when you throw the ball, it's a little different. You'll have your incompletions, you have whatever. But yeah, getting your face smashed in every single play is not a pleasant feeling.
You ain't lying. This keeper is good though. I like him.
But hey, Langston, you said the same thing about the quarterbacks in Union County. How do they keep finding these running backs? That's the piece for me. McDowell kid go back to Huss. They're able to plug and play another guy in there, and these guys are young.
It's the same thing.
These guys aren't graduating.
They play together. Holy Trinity up. They play together. They play the same offense. Their base offense was a T formation. So they're all doing the same thing. They're learning the same thing, and they develop.
This is my guy, West Charlotte. I went to go watch him practicing basketball. He's not 6'5" no more either. He's 6'6". The kid is a giant. Right here in this film, he's probably 6'3". I'm talking about this kid can go up and get it. You talking about raise the ladder up? He can windmill dunk it. He was doing some stuff on the basketball court tonight before I came over here and told him I'm talking about him. This kid, he's a long strider, and you just throw the ball up to him. We were going to throw it up. You got a 6'6" guy that can windmill dunk it. We're throwing it up to you, buddy.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when he doesn't arrive until the 4th or 5th game of the season because they're playing in the state playoff?
Exactly.
That's a likelihood. That's a great possibility because their team looks really good.
I remember that
a lot of jump balls coming in, but I think we're going to be able to let them play football and basketball somehow. We're going to come up with some solution.
That's my coach. He said that back in the day.
He don't need to practice. Practice. I don't need that. Just throw that beast up to that guy.
Yeah, I remember that. Our corners off.
When I saw him, I was blown away how tall. How someone says they're 6'5", but they 6'3.5". This dude, he's 6'6".
I could have told you that from last year. I thought we had great defense against West Charlotte, and here he come with a dang ball way in there. He's going to get. You see, I love our corner to death. He ain't that tall.
Yeah, there's a lot of blue highlights on here.
All that for 10 points. Dang, wow.
The only problem they had is the guy that had the trigger man right there. We don't have that guy no more. We got a real trigger man now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that guy didn't get it done.
Yeah, clip that, Langston.
No, you ain't clipping that. You can post it.
It's already been heard.
Right.
Yeah, there's enough people to hear it the first time that I don't necessarily have to clip it, but I certainly can clip it if you want me to.
All right. Like I said, you had a freshman quarterback they won 7 games with. He was ineligible last year. The guy that came in didn't have the continuity with his team because he's been on 4 different other teams before that. And so I think it affects. That's why they only won, 3 or 4 games last year?
Yeah. So it's going to turn around this year.
I hope so, but it's just tough. We're in the hardest conference. I mean, the goal is if we can go 4-3, I think we get in the playoffs. That's the goal.
I distinctly remember you telling me when you were in the other conference that you were in the toughest conference.
This is 100% the toughest conference.
But that one,
everybody in it. Like we always say,
another conference.
When you get locked in the Thunderdome, you don't understand. Once they lock those cage doors, you go to that conference schedule. All of a sudden, it's like, wow. They really weren't lying. This is a hard conference. I played Buck last week. I got to play Vance this week, and then Creek in 2 weeks. Are you serious?
Well, you got Dead Man's Curve. I think we got Huff, Mallard Creek, Vance, like boom, 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 like Dead Man's Curve.
You can't. I mean, there's 3 teams in the 8-team schedule. Sorry, we were making this the Ahmed conversation. It's okay, but again, you got to play all of them together. Shout out to all the teams. Man, when North Meck was good, I
love my non-conference schedule. I ain't gonna lie.
It's time for doom and gloom in Kisby.
We need like drums, like
We hadn't done any gloom and doom.
We get the jaw.
That's not doom and gloom.
That's gloom doom.
I'm having.
We need the Jaws theme music for real.
Oh my goodness. Well, we could be gloom and doom on this first topic, and that's Clemson. They lost, and of course, not having your starting quarterback kind of disrupts things and maybe makes you think you're going to be playing a team like Notre Dame. You got a chance to lose. But the question is, do you think it impacts them for the playoffs? How does this knock them out of the playoffs, put them in a position that, where do you think this puts them concerning the playoffs and a national championship, actually?
I don't think the one game determines it. But what happened in that one game with how many players they lost due to injury does. Because the more players you lose due to injury, the more it affects. I haven't seen their schedule for the rest of the year. They probably won't have to play Notre Dame or till the championship. But they lost a lot of players during that time. And the defense has been the problem. It hasn't been necessarily the offense. So when Trevor comes back, is the defense going to be able to come back with him, or are they going to stay struggling? And so I don't think it's necessarily the one game that causes them to lose and get out of the playoffs, but what happens because of a result of what happened in that game.
Daryl, I think it has no effect whatsoever. It went double overtime with missing 3 or 4 starters on defense. They still scored over 40. Now, they let somebody else get over 40. However, those guys gain valuable playing time. I don't think they have anybody who's out for the season. They'll see Notre Dame again in Charlotte in about a month. They will beat Notre Dame. I tell you what I enjoyed about seeing Clemson was seeing Trenton Simpson from Mallard Creek.
Yeah.
He got a lot of time, a lot of playing time. He's only going to get better. And only thing that bothered me is I wish he was wearing Carolina blue instead of orange and white. But Clemson's going to be fine. They're going to beat Notre Dame come December, and then they both will make the playoffs along with Alabama and probably Ohio State. So I think Clemson is just fine. I wouldn't worry about because they've gone through the meat of their schedule. They don't have to play any of the top teams left in the ACC. So I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I can look back, and I was just thinking back a few years ago when NC State had missed a field goal that it should have made to beat Clemson, and Clemson went on to win the national championship. And that was, one close game, down players. I don't think it impacts them that much. It may be more of a motivator than anything. But losing players, I think it was mentioned last week, Clemson recruits, top 3 in the nation every year. So they're going after players that if those players that are sitting on the bench move to another school, they'd be starting at a lot of schools.
Right, exactly.
So they got step-up players. They've got players that can step in and fill in and play. I tend to believe, or I tend to go along with you. I think they face Notre Dame again. It'll be a different outcome. It's going to be interesting to see who makes it to the Final Four.
Yes. Well, one of the things that is an outcome of that particular game Saturday night is after Notre Dame won, the students rushed the field. And in the excitement of knocking off number 1, I'm not sure how many of them had a mask on. We know the players didn't have masks on. Do you think this is going to have an effect on Notre Dame in the upcoming weeks? Because there's no way you can do contact tracing with that many people on the field. So what effect do you think that will have?
Kenzie, go ahead first.
A big one. I mean, if you looked, it was kind of funny because there was this whole field. Normally the field's filled completely. And it was just this tiny little spot over the ND, but it was filled and they were so close together. And it's college students. So, they probably aren't following all the protocols before that, So, I mean, it's definitely going to impact that team. Those players probably went out, had fun afterwards. Notre Dame was probably popping after that win. I bet it was a ton of fun. It's not going to be as fun when they all test positive for COVID-19.
Yeah, you beat Clemson, so that's obviously. I remember a game-filling event at when NC State and ECU played, and ECU beat NC State, and that stadium just filled, and so they couldn't hold themselves back. I understand that, but they're college students. A lot of them have got the virus. I saw some articles come across today. I haven't read them yet, but they are at Notre Dame now. They realize they're going to have to start doing some extra testing of students now because of this. So it has the potential to have a huge impact, not just on the university, but on the football program, because those people they're gonna mix around.
Well, it makes you think, what was the sports administration staff at Notre Dame thinking about? I mean, if you ever see a Duke basketball game, they always have security surround the court just in case somebody upsets Duke and rushes the floor. And they have the players, they have them roped off where they can shake hands and go on to the locker room without getting caught up in the rush of students. And Notre Dame had to know that there was going to be a potential upset, that they had a chance to win. It seems like to me they would have had more security to prevent those students from running on the field like they did. That kind of surprised me that they weren't prepared, especially since they were only at 25% capacity.
But maybe they wanted it to allow it to happen. That's a possibility, to let the students, they knew that if that was going to happen, let the students enjoy it. It's not a wise thought, but Maybe that's why they didn't have that security.
Yeah.
I'm just mad they didn't tear down the goalpost. But anyway, on to the next thing. I'm going to be honest here, folks. I don't know two of these shows, have no clue what's going on. One of them's got to go, though. Happy Days, Friends, or Sanford and Son?
Who's going to go first? I'll go first.
Okay.
This is hard for me because, first of all three of these shows were number one shows. And Happy Days was the show from when I was in high school. Friends is a iconic show, and Sanford and Son. So Sanford and Son doesn't go because that's the best show out of the three, without question. And I guess if I were looking at things today, if I were going to sit down, which show would I watch? I hate to say it, but I would probably have to throw out Happy Days. I love the show, but I guess Happy Days is going to go for me. Certainly not Old Red Fox and and that heart.
For me, it would have to be Friends. I've never seen an episode of it. My friends tell me it's a version of Girlfriends. That's what my wife says. That's where the idea came from. I don't know, but it would have to be Friends. I remember Happy Days and Sanford and Son as a child. What I liked most about Sanford and Son, it was before the era of political correctness. I think the funniest show of the 70s still has to be All in the Family, though. That's the best one.
Well,
I'm with you 100%.
So I made a couple of calls since I didn't know what was going on. So I asked my parents which one had to go. My mom's favorite show ever is Friends, so we knew that one wasn't going. And she said Sanford and Sons has to go because Happy Days has the Fonz, who was way too cool to diss, and Tommy was way too cute not to watch. So there you go, folks. That's Liz's view on the subject.
Wow. Reporting. Hey, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
Happy Days. When I hear Happy Days, you know what I really think of? I think of Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live because Ron Howard was the host. Yeah. And Eddie Murphy came out and said, it's Opie Cunningham, because Ron Howard played Opie on Andy Griffin and he played Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. So Eddie Murphy refers to him as Opie Cunningham. And I thought that was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
Good segment.
I love Doom and Gloom gets to get this, one got to go. And you see them light up. No more COVID talk. So, guys, I might have to retire the nickname, but, it's all good. Gary, come on in so we can lock the Thunderdome because we know what time it is.
All right.
Remember that funny time where they had us taking those pictures like we were fighting and they were going to add that in. They never added that in. That's a February thing, I guess.
That's something behind the scenes for you guys that didn't know. But,
we're going to have a camera when you two meet at midfield at the Hopewell West Charlotte game.
We don't meet. I'm not a head coach. Y'all keep forgetting that. I'm not a head coach. We're not meeting. I'll be on the sideline, getting my headset right, doing whatever. We're not meeting. He's talking to whoever. We'll talk before and after the game. But, y'all keep forgetting that. Shout out Coach Melbird.
Well, guys, we're getting close. We're getting close to playoff time. Give us an update on your Heisman.
Wait. I'm sorry. Forgot one thing, Gary. My bad.
Okay.
You guys are having such an effect on the populace that guys are taking y'all's clips and putting them in their clips. So I just wanted to share something from Henry Rutledge, who's probably on y'all's list anyway. But this is really cool.
Who's winning the race for private school Heisman?
It's Henry Rutledge. Is that how you say his last name? Rutledge?
Yes.
You talking about a guy that touches the football and makes a huge difference anytime he touches it in the kickoff return game, in the punt return game. Anytime he touches it, he can go 90 yards, 60 yards, 50 yards. He is special. I didn't know how good he was until I saw him in person, and that kid is dangerous.
We came to play. I'm on the way. We came to stay. I'm on the way. This ain't a game. I put my team on. Let's get it. They see the team strong. We in it. I feel like King Kong in the field. I used to play and I was winning. Laughing joke, but but I don't play. Fairly broke, that's not a game.
He is the fastest player in private school. Period. My man is DK Metcalf in high school football.
Minivan, yeah. Ice cream man when I slap you. But I ain't still cold, nothing when I find you, yeah. I'm Marshawn Lynch in my interview. I'm about to run through about 10 of you, yeah. This way that way and finish you. Lowercase C, how I get to you.
This guy is one of the most all-around players. We got the man here. Again, this guy does not stop.
He is, without question, the most explosive.
We came to play, we came to play. I'm on the way, we came to stay. I'm on the way, this ain't a game. I put my team on, let's get it. They see the team strong, we in it.
His quickness is elite. If he gets just 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, he can go to the house. You have to be able to get him before he breaks the line of scrimmage, or he's gone.
I put my team on, let's get it. They see the team strong, we in it. I feel like
That's crazy.
I'm about to go follow him on Twitter now.
That's crazy.
Well, let me word it this way then. Did he do anything to change your mind after Friday night?
Not for me, because I said he's the best, I think. But if I had to do the top 3 right now, Henry would be in it, Matthew and Russell Tabor would be my 3 right now that are going to the Heisman finals for the private school football.
Yeah, of course I got my 1 is the same. I mean, Rutledge is a front runner, no question. For me, 2 is still Russell Tabor. I mean, I know the record kind of puts it down, but he's consistently delivered results against top talent. And, when you talk about high school Heisman, that's what you look at. They're a great team. Again, in any of these conferences, he'd be, one of the better teams that have maybe 1, 2 losses at most. My 3rd actually probably is a little surprise. Nickel Fields is my 3rd. I think, he's consistently had some big results in some big-time games. And we talk about Heisman moments. That first game, PD Charlotte Christian, he made some big plays for sure. So those are my 3 right now. If we had to, buy them, plane tickets to New York for our little ceremony there, that's who I'd have.
Well, folks, stay tuned. On November the 3rd, we'll make an announcement live, and we can see who's the best in private school football.
That'll be
our next debate. Yesterday, the Panthers took the Chiefs all the way deep into the 4th quarter, had a chance to win. And then the Bucs on primetime Sunday Night Football got waxed. I got waxed.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints opened up a can of whoop, you know what? And so the Bucs are they're gonna do some soul searching, and they're coming to Charlotte this Sunday. Who you got?
I like the Bucs in this game just because I've never seen Tom Brady have 2 really bad games in a row where it affects their team to lose. I think that Carolina is a very tough place to play right now because they compete. They compete very, very well, but they're so young. And I think that they'll be very competitive in the game, but I think they'll lose it late.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was concerning for me in the game last night was just the efficiency, of the Saints, of Drew Brees, and how they were able to execute and do have a lot of success doing a lot of things that they do. Who do we have as offensive coordinator, and who do we have as a quarterback? We have the offensive coordinator that ran the Saints offense and the former backup from the New Orleans Saints. So I think you'll see a lot of comparable things that the Saints ran against the Bucs that the Panthers can do the exact same. And we know Bridgewater has been pretty middle of the road with some exceptional games. I thought yesterday he was excellent. I think he's shown great things. I think that first half of the Saints game probably was the height of his season so far as talking about efficiency. I think that we have a lot of offensive success, but the key is going to be defense. I hope that they can get a couple stops. I think this will be another high-scoring affair. I like the Panthers to pull this one out, though.
Okay.
Is the guard going to play? Is the guard going to play for the Bucs? The one that wasn't playing the past game. He's a big.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the injury report on it, honestly. Shay Sharp wasn't talking too much about about injury reports today.
You're right. I hope
guys. Saturday, Michigan was upset. Penn State was upset. And South Carolina got blown out on their home field. And they got blown out for the 2nd week in a row. Who's on the hottest seat? James Franklin at Penn State Jim Harbaugh at Michigan or Will Muschamp at South Carolina?
Yeah, I'll start here. So, the first two, when you talk about Penn State, Michigan, I think people get caught up a little bit more with their names. Indiana's a good football team. We got to start accepting that they beat both of these two teams. They're a good football team. For me, the pick is Will Muschamp at South Carolina. That 48-3 performance against Texas A&M was one of the most listless performances I've ever seen from a football team in the SEC. I mean, you talk about a program that, and a guy in Muschamp that's made his name on defense, made Kellen Mond look like Tua Tagovailoa, like 550 total yards by Texas A&M to 130 for South Carolina. It was embarrassing, and people, while South Carolina hasn't reached those heights as far as great wins, they're 2-4 now. You look at the rest of their schedule. I have it here. They play Missouri, they play Ole Miss, they play Georgia and Kentucky. So they're only favored potentially in one game, and that's maybe Kentucky. To give further perspective, 2-4 was when Steve Spurrier resigned last because they were doing so bad. They went 3-9 in 2015, and they have not had a record this bad since 1999, since they've been 0-11. South Carolina is unprecedentedly bad, and I think the best thing for them is that they won't see Clemson to lose 70-0. So he's on a hot seat because their defense is absolutely terrible, and I don't think he's going to be there much longer.
Well, I mean, that's a strong point. Didn't South Carolina beat someone really, really good this year already?
Auburn's not really, really good. They're barely in the top 25.
They were ranked like top 5, I think, when they beat them, though, weren't they?
Yeah, they're missed outside of the top 25.
Maybe.
Not Auburn.
True. All right,
Gus is honorable mention right there.
Here's the thing. This is the one thing you got to look at. Hotter seat. Has South Carolina ever won the SEC?
No.
Okay, so how often has Michigan won the Big Ten? A whole lot, correct?
It's most recent, though. It's been a long time.
That's the point that I want to make, that Jim Harbaugh's got a hotter seat because of that factor. They're getting tired of it. It's the winningest program in the history of college football. Well, I don't know if it is anymore, but it was, and a couple of years ago. But James Franklin's just having a really bad year. I think they really love him. But Jim Harbaugh, I love him. Personally, I love the guy. But I thought after they whooped Minnesota, I was like, yes, they're back. He's finally going to have that year where he breaks through. He can compete with Ohio State. But now you lose to Michigan State, then you lose to Indiana, even though Indiana was not an upset because they were a top 15 team ranked, I guess, at the time. It's just their name. You're not expecting Indiana to be that good. They're ballers. But hot seat, Jim Harbaugh right now.
Well, guys, I think that probably what's saving all of them is all the budget cuts they've had to make because of COVID. And the last thing they need is to have to pay somebody off for not working. But if you're going strictly by football, I think it's got to be Muschamp. When you are a defensive coach and the worst part of your team is the defense, then you got problems.
Kellen Mond looking like a Heisman candidate, award finalist. Like, come on, man, that was awful. But no, I do agree with you on Harbaugh. I was disgusted. My cousin's a Michigan fan. I'm calling him like Indiana. Indiana was 39 of the last 40. They beat Indiana, and then they got steamrolled this weekend. So neither one of them in a great situation.
Yeah, I agree. I like Muschamp. I don't. What kind of coach can you get to come coach at South Carolina? Like, they could be better. It's just tough,
Yeah. All right, guys, in a few minutes, we're going to have Monday Night Football. It's probably going to be the worst Monday Night Football of the season because the Jets are on there. But it does have some interesting people who are Cam Newton fans, which is, most of Charlotte. And Cam hadn't played well in the last 3 weeks for whatever reason, whether it's the talent around him or the fact that he's not playing well. Is this a make or break game for Cam Newton?
Yes, because he's on my fantasy team and I need 37 points. I need 37 points tonight. That I can't hold off any longer. Like, I already lost Dak Prescott, and all I have is this dragon that needs to wake up like he did the first 2 weeks. So it's make or break for me. I can tell you that, and that's all that matters right now. Fantasy football, need 37 points, brother. Get it done.
Grice?
First year I hadn't played fantasy football, and I might not go back because he sounds like an addict over there, man. Oh my gosh, I was that bad. I'd ask my friends, was I that bad? But no, this is not a make or break game for Cam Newton. Everyone always wants to put Cam Newton in the situation like you're never going to find another job. This is your last chance. You suck. You're horrible. And what does he do every time? He shows and proves. Doesn't matter if you're saying.
He won't make my roster. He will not make your roster.
Make or break your roster.
Win this for me.
But for the NFL purposes, it's not make or break. Cam Newton's a guy that always has dealt with adversity. Again, he's never let on how bad it is. He freaking won a game in Carolina after a daggum car accident. Wouldn't tell you how bad he was hurting. Shoulder injury. I mean, we can go through the litany of injuries that Cam Newton had, and he's always overcome. This is one of the biggest and most rare in COVID-19. He played a little bit better last week, just a couple of untimely fumbles. You don't have those. They win the game, and he continues on that progress. So, no, this isn't a make-or-break situation. He will continue to improve. The opponent, of course, will help that. We'll see the old Cam like we're used to, and I'm excited to see him come back and be that fun-loving guy we all know.
It's make or break it for him for my roster. I'm telling you that right now. We didn't confirm if it was the NFL. I'm just saying make it or break it right now.
I can get that. He's cut.
Dale already
said how he feels right there. Dale already let you know somebody pick him up.
Yeah, you got to change that picture.
Cam Newton doesn't have a lot of talent around him, guys. They have eight guys opted out because of COVID. They have 4 or 5 guys get COVID during the season. New England's is not very good. Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Newt Rockne, it wouldn't matter. They're just not very good.
Oh, Tom Brady's wishing he was playing the Jets again, isn't he?
The first 2 weeks, he looked like world class, like Patriots are going to go back to the Super Bowl. I need that type of performance.
Yes, that 4 teams kind of figured them out a little bit too.
I don't think everybody's getting Sam's point because Sam needs 37 points from Cam. I need 40 points from Cam tonight.
I'll take 40.
You're not going to get him, guys.
40. So I need to see
Gary, you should
quarterback powers, quarterback sweeps, and 2 touchdowns running and 2 touchdowns passing.
But Gary, you should
Cam might not be done in the NFL, but Cam will definitely be done in fantasy league if he doesn't produce.
That's what we're talking about.
But Gary, you should know better because you saw the Cowboys stand up to the Steelers yesterday. Everybody thought Pittsburgh was going to go down there and win by 20. It didn't happen.
My gosh.
It's pro football.
We don't need moral victories, do we, Sam?
No, we don't. And the thing is this: it's the NFL. Except when you're talking about the Jets. That's the simple. Like, if you're a Jets fan, how depressing is that right now? Like that has got to be so depressing to wear a hat or, like you're wearing a coat over your shirt. Like, if it's
that's what we talk. Right.
I'm on a time mandate. I got 3 minutes. Look, high school Heisman guys, we're going to ask the finalists. Gary, Grice, and Grinder are going to pick their finalists next week. We're going to ask the finalists to come on the show November 23rd, and we're gonna give out the high school Heisman Award for the season. And public school people who are emailing me right now, we're going to do the same thing when public school football starts in February. So we're going to let the guys do a high school Heisman each week, and then we'll pick a winner at the end, have a little fun with it. All right? It's time for Sam's final thoughts. Let me put you in the one shot.
All right, we're just going to go back. I need 37, my brother Cam, the number 1 show. Like, I mean, I'm serious right now. I'm depressed. I need this win. I'm out of fantasy if I don't win this, so I need it, brother. I'm going to throw good vibes to you. Cam Newton, baby, number 1. Let's go.
All right, guys, that was a fun show. I'm in under my time. Kizzy, you got anything before we get out of here?
Maybe her Kinsey time.
Yeah, go watch Kinsey time on Twitter, peeps.
Yeah.
Kinsey wants to know, like, who is Newt Rockne?
Yeah.
You got homework, Kinsey, all the old school.
We're going to have to give Kinsey a history lesson off camera. 10 o'clock tonight on Twitter, social media. Tonight being Monday the 9th. If you're looking at this later on, it'll already be out on social media. Look at Kinsey time. It'll be out all week long.
Oh, yeah.
Reach out to her if you want to be on Kinsey time. You want to be all across the Charlotte Observer social media stuff all week long.
Hit me up.
You can do that. Yeah. Just reach out to Kinsey. There's her Twitter below you. Okay, I'm Langston. That's Gary. That's Sam. That's Miss Kinsey. That's Dale. That's Grice. We are Talking Press. We'll catch you next week, Monday night at 7 p.m. Peace.
Take care.
New Rockney. I'm glad you threw that out.